Triumph of the Will. One of the most infamous pieces of National Socialist propaganda to ever be seen on the cinema screen, funded and commissioned by the Nazi Party and even Adolf Hitler himself. But despite the film's dominant theme of Nazism and fascist beliefs, Triumph of the Will was and still is classed as a groundbreaking documentary. So why, in a society where National Socialism and the Nazi Party is viewed with a stance of aversion, is this film held with such critical acclaim? This is the lasting legacy of Triumph of the Will. The year is 1934, 2 years after Hitler originally lost the presidential election in 1932, despite their minor success of gaining 37% of the Reichstag seats after a massive propaganda campaign. The goal of Hitler at this point in time was to accomplish the unity of the German people to create a new empire that would span the whole of Europe, along with the eradication of the Jewish people. In order for Hitler to achieve this, Leni Riefenstahl was asked to produce her second and biggest piece of propaganda, Triumphed as Villains by Hitler himself, to help gain the support of all German citizens after Riefenstahl impressed Hitler with her first piece of work for the Nazi Party, Der Sieg des Glaubens, in 1933. Triumph of the Will documents the Nazi Party's 1934 Congress in Nuremberg, Germany, with the main purpose of promoting German nationalism by attempting to unite all citizens under the Nazi Party. However, this film was designed by Nazis, for Nazis, and about Nazis, drawing in the masses through the use of propaganda and Hitler's unique and terrifying power to attract crowds to his beliefs by the very power of his voice. And Leni Riefenstahl was a catalyst which allowed Hitler's voice to reach the millions. So why is a documentary with such a controversial subject so popular? In short, Triumph of the Will is a demonstration of cinematic strength along with its revolutionary techniques. Despite the film's taboo subject, through the production of Triumph of the Will, Riefenstahl revolutionised the film industry using many techniques that were unheard of or rarely seen at the time, such as her choice of low-angled cameras to connote power, dominance and leadership, and her visual metaphors to convey Hitler as a saviour or even a god to the German people, evident in the opening scenes where Hitler descends from the heavens. Leni Riefenstahl's work was so influential, it even influenced modern-day cinema in which we are very much familiar with today, even to the point where there is a shocking resemblance between the use of techniques in Triumph of the Will and Hollywood cinema. In one of those examples, we can see the comparison between the final scene in Triumph of the Will and the final scene of the 1977 Star Wars, in which the two films become eerily similar with a clear parallel between the two, with obvious inspiration from Riefenstahl. To conclude, Triumph of the Will was produced and manufactured to put faith into the Nazi rule, whilst giving hope to the people of Germany, but in many people's eyes today, this does not condemn the film. This is because Leni Riefenstahl manufactured an exemplary piece of documented history which unfortunately blinded many to what the Nazi Party were actually capable of. In today's age, watching Triumph of the Will consists less of being driven in by the hypodermic needle theory, which many Germans during the release in 1935 were completely passive against, but instead the admiration of filming, art and cinematography techniques which are far more advanced and ahead of its time. This use of spectacular filmmaking, unfortunately, is used to promote a profoundly unethical political ideology. On that note, I leave you with a question asked by Robert Ebert: is there such a thing as pure art? Or does all art make a political statement?